What if TOXEPEX was in Gen 1 OU? This is a weird one to go over, because look at those stats. Look at that special defense, 142. This thing was clearly not made for Gen 1. This thing was not made to only have one special stat. Because, yeah, it probably should have 142 by design to make it bulky. But also, it's a water type, all Marvels are special. And having a 142 with, like, special stab is just not okay. But on the other hand, 53 is really bad. It will just be garbage if it had that. So, it's one of the weird examples where I'm kind of glad that for newer Pokemon, Gen 1 custom games, like, doesn't just have one special stat for them. It's still uses both the special attack and special defense. But it's not made for Gen 1, and I couldn't really tell you which one was better. So I'm just going to go over how it does in Gen 1 custom games. Because other than like mods that people make, that's the only way you can actually use this guy if you want to use him in a Gen 1 game. So how good would he be there? Even if you ignore the whole special stats, it's weird. Like, I took a 2-day break to, like, just enjoy some family time. And this was probably not the Pokemon to get back to after 2 days of not doing these videos. But I'll try my best to figure this out anyways. So for moves, most of these are, not Gen 1. So the best thing I think of is, well, obviously Recover. This is legitimately just a good move on it. It's always a good move on TOXEPEX. But you also have, Ice Beam. Because you're pretty tanky-ish. Like that base, 50, HP isn't going to do much for you. Not only that, but its typing isn't really the greatest. Water Poison is a pretty good defensive typing in modern gens. But there's no fighting types. There's no fire types. There's no fairy types. So what does TOXEPEX do? It's weak to ground. It's weak to psychic. If this is water and ice, but a lot of other things resist those, and they're much better. So, I guess since there's like nothing here, you give it Surf. But then look at the rest of this. What do you give it? Like, there's no poison moves. It doesn't learn Sludge. There's no hidden power. There's no Icy Wind, no Infestation. It has Pin Missile, but if Jolteon's Pin Missile doesn't really hurt Executor, like, yeah, TOXEPEX ain't going to doo-doo. I'm not going to swear. So, what do we give it? The only thing you could give it if you just wouldn't have only Gen 1 moves is Toxic. And, like, yeah, that is about as bad as it sounds. But since I do give signature moves, we will give it Baneful Bunker. Which actually does make TOXEPEX actually kind of interesting. Because Protect didn't exist until Gen 2. So TOXEPEX will have the only move in the game that gives it a full protection immunity. And yeah, that having no Pokemon with that does make it somewhat interesting. It does give it a niche. What niche is that? Well, Stall. It's TOXEPEX. None of you are surprised by me saying that. But with both Access to Recover and Baneful Bunker, there's only one thing this thing is good at, and that is trading power points. Or, yeah, so... yeah, that's really all it does. It just trades PP. Does it sound bad? Yes, it does. Probably because it is bad. And, yeah. It's the only thing it has going for it. And with those, like, the high defenses, it will be able to, like... most things in the game will probably 3-shot it. So Recover can help, and also Baneful Bunker. But one thing that Baneful Bunker really doesn't... well, I don't know, it kind of likes it. Like, Poison does sound kind of annoying. But for some matchups like Snorlax, Tauros, and Cloyster, that actually does come in really handy. So, yeah, it's weird. Let's just go into the replays. Starting off with the boy Tauros, and almost all of these are going to have to be put in fast. For obvious reasons, it's a freaking TOXEPEX. Now, I guess this is probably one of its better matchups. Weirdly enough, like I'll also see later, the best one is probably Cloyster. But Tauros, strangely enough, is probably the second best one. It doesn't like crits, But with both Recover and Baneful Bunker, it can actually stall out all of the Earthquakes. And since Tauros will be forced to have to use like a normal sumo later, it will actually poison the Tauros, which actually gives you a way to do damage to it even while you're stalling. Which, yeah, you can tell what type of video this is going to be. I leave my break only to make replays like this. Fantastic. But yeah, you're pretty much seeing what the only thing TOXEPEX does. It just sits there and it just tries not to die, which it's good at doing against things that aren't psychic types or electric types. But yeah, we're gonna be in for a long ride. Now, Snorlax, I figured this one would be much better because, Snorlax has, rest. So we're starting with a physical Snorlax with, Earthquake, Body Slam, and all that. Does anyone care that I put this in hyper fast? Like, do you need to see like, the action movie animations? Or do you can probably get the point. You can just decide if you really want to see it. But yeah, this was the pain. Making these replays was a huge pain. I will say though, like, so far, this TOXEPEX video, it was way more interesting than I was going to be. I just thought it was going to be a video of TOXEPEX just being hot garbage. And to be honest, if we give it Toxic instead of, Baneful Bunker, it would have been. And even now, let's be honest, it probably is just bad, no matter what way you look at it. It probably would end up in underuse. If with underuse, having access to Baneful Bunker could make it more interesting. Not only that, but also I imagine, like, the poison, status from Baneful Bunker could be useful going against normal spam teams. So yeah, underuse is probably going to be where his home is. But as you can see here, against like physical Snorlax, they both can have what it takes to outstall the other. I think it just depends on which person is more skilled. But obviously Snorlax, losing like Earthquakes is really bad. But yeah, Snorlax gets frozen. As you see there, it ran out of Surfs. It had like 12 Ice Beams left and like 6 Baneful Bunkers. Snorlax still had a decent amount of Body Slams left. It only used 1 Hyper Beam. It had a good amount of rest, like half of its rest. So I'm actually not sure who actually would have won if like Snorlax didn't get frozen. You can let me know in the comments below, at least with this particular replay. I couldn't tell you. And against Amnesia, this one just becomes a matter of who gets frozen first. This replay isn't anywhere near as long as the other one, but I'm still putting it hyper fast because there's just not much to say here. Like, what do you actually say here? Like, oh yeah, like the Pokemon, it does a 1/3 health to TOXEPEX. TOXEPEX recovers, and then it like spams Recover and Baneful Bunker. Like, thank goodness this Pokemon's not in Gen 1 OU, because like if it was there, it would be bad. But it would be like one of those bats where casual players think it's good, or they use it to feel more comfortable. So you still see it a lot on ladder. And yeah, if you were to see this a lot on ladder, that would be painful. Even with Bolt Beam Chansey, you still have to put it on hyper fast. Because yeah, we all know the TOXEPEX is gonna die. And the opponent probably knows TOXEPEX is gonna die too. But it takes so long. Yeah. Like, I do not know why so many of you requested this. And if the Chansey doesn't have, if it doesn't have Thunderbolt, you're pretty much just both spamming Ice Beam and trying to see which one of you freezes first. And in this case, it's Chansey, which I'm happy about. Very happy about. Because I did not feel like doing a whole replay with, yeah. And then Alakazam, Psychic. Even with a powerful Psychic type, it still takes a decent amount of time. Like, it took 6 turns, which that wasn't like that bad. But like, still, that should have just been taken like 2 turns max. But TOXEPEX can just stall it out. And this is the one that I actually find really interesting. Because Clamp, obviously staying on a lock is like, pretty annoying. So let's think of it to myself. So is this replay literally just gonna be like Cloyster, just, slowly chipping away? But then I forgot that even though Clamp is a special move, it still has contact, which means that the Cloyster takes big, poison damage the entire time. Which actually means that the TOXEPEX can actually 100% stall the Cloyster out. And it could force it to, like, go for an explosion. And even if Cloyster does go for an explosion, you can actually just, go for Baneful Bunker and, like, protect from it. I didn't do it here because I didn't think about it. But yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. I thought that would be unwinnable, but it's unwinnable, yeah. But it's actually unwinnable for Cloyster. And then Executor. I don't know how I ever, like, witnessed a scenario where I'm actually rooting for Executor. How does that happen? How is there a Pokemon more annoying than a full HP Executor putting something to sleep? I don't know how it's possible, but it happened. So, yeah, good job, Eggy. And then Gengar. This one's also pain. Because I feel like you kind of have to go for Hypnosis. Just because Thunderbolt's like a 3-hit KO, I'm pretty sure. And you really don't want to risk, actually, I want to put that in reset. Because I want to see just how bad that actually was. Because, you really don't want to go for, like, you probably want to go for Hypnosis, mostly because, yeah, they're just going to spam Ice Beams. And you really don't want to risk the sleep. Or not the sleep, the freeze. So better safe than sorry. But is it really safe than sorry? Because you're going to see a lot of Hypnosis were missed. And actually was, in the TOXEPEX that gets some chip damage. So maybe it is just better to go for, just Thunderbolt. But yeah, it's still annoying. At the very least, like, obviously the Gengar isn't actually in danger, other than just freezing. So either Psychic, Nightshade, or Thunderbolt, Gengar, can take the matchup pretty easily. But it's gonna take time. Because, good golly, do they like the stall. It is annoying. But look, we don't have to, like, put one, in fast for a change. Because Jinx was put to sleep and killed with Psychic. Isn't that wonderful? Like, it's just... Also here, it probably is even less. You probably, even less likely you need to, like, use Lovely Kiss because you're an Ice type. But, you know what? TOXEPEX deserves it. They deserve it. So, good for them. Good, I've seen that for Jinx, by the way. Good for Jinx for, just having a completely, unlosable matchup. And against Rhydon. Rhydon can unironically kill you with a crit. And even if it doesn't kill you, whatever you're sending is going to easily revenge kill you. And you don't have Regenerator. You're not getting that HP back. So yes, you can, obviously you can kill it in one hit, but it's not really worth it. Ugh, even with Starmie, it still takes forever. Because it stalls, heals, it keeps doing that, and Thunderbolt's a 3-hit KO. Obviously Psychic isn't anywhere near as bad. It's still probably a 3-hit KO, or maybe a 2-hit KO, because it's stab, but it's still annoying, as you can see here. We're already on turn 12, and Starmie is still spamming super effective moves, and the TOXEPEX is just not dying. It's just, like, thank Arceus, they got, paralyzed. Because, like, other than that, like, who knows how long this matchup would have went on for. Did not bother showing, Jolteon. You could probably guess how that goes. And good God, I did not bother making a Swabble versus, TOXEPEX replay. I do not want to know how that would have went. That would have been ugly. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to know how many turns I would have taken. But last but not least, I guess, Zapdos TOXEPEX. You're not surprised by this. Let's just try to speed this up, shall we? I'm sorry that the videos, like, this video is probably going to be shorter than the others, just because the replays are going back so faster, but you saw there was nothing interesting to see here. All of these replays, nothing, yeah. Well, either way, here is the list. And this actually, I meant to put that there. Yeah, it is not good. TOXEPEX do be struggling a lot. Like, a lot. It's not OU material. It just simply isn't. If Tentacruel can't make it a Gen 1 OU, what makes you think TOXEPEX is a shot? But again, in underuse, it probably will be interesting. I'm actually not sure how the Baneful Bunker stuff works with Tentacruel's wrap. If it can possibly poison Tentacruel, that could be interesting. But I'm assuming it probably can't. But then again, Tween Needle can, like, poison both poison types and, steel types. So maybe, who knows? All I do know is that you guys finally got your TOXEPEX video, and the fact that it's more interesting, the outcome ended up being more interesting than I originally thought. That's kind of sad. But yeah, there you go. I hope it's what you were hoping for, or what you were expecting. But what do you think? Would TOXEPEX even be used in Gen 1 OU? Or do you think it will just be like only used in lower tiers? And would it even be good in lower tiers? Would it even be good with, in Gen 1 underuse? You tell me. Now that I'm done from my short little break, I'm going to be going back to making videos every day. To be honest, with some stuff coming up, I might have some free time. Might even make 2 videos a day on certain days if I have, if I'm able to. And, yeah. I do not much else to say, other than thank you, because while I was on my break, I finally got to 3,000 watch time hours. And at least the time of making this video, I have 451 subscribers. So once we get to 500, I'll actually be able to, get memberships and, actually be able to make money off that. Which is crazy. I did not think I would get this far this fast. So make sure you check and see if you're subscribed. Because I noticed recently that a lot of people who comment on my videos a lot didn't actually subscribe, even though I saw them a lot, in the comments. So just make sure, because you might think you're subscribed, you might not be. And also, I will apologize, because now that I'm actually getting there, I actually might have to remind people to subscribe more often. So just be on the lookout for that. I'm sorry, but thank you. This is Groundback, and until next time, I look forward to hearing from you.